Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Dave Cottingham in the house with Casey Cooley.
Hey, everybody.
He's in the house.
I'm in the house. In the house.
In the house. Welcome back. It's Inside the Force, a galaxy far, far away that we are exploring.
Yes.
The galaxy far, far away. Of course, we're hitting up everything Star Wars. We're talking about it. This week's show, we're going to be diving into multiple different stories, news, because there's not that much news out there as far as the different categories that we usually hit on as far as every aspect. But we will talk a little bit about everything and then get into some news stories out there that are Star Wars related that we'll kind of dive in and give our opinions about. But first off, of course, we are at Inside the Force on Twitter, InsideTheForce.com. You can get there, subscribe to us on any platform that's out there, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, our RSS feed is right there. Subscribe, whatever reader you guys prefer. Get us on Facebook, Inside the Force as well. Go to our YouTube channel, Inside the Force 21 Network YouTube channel, /21 Network on YouTube. That is where you'll see a lot more supporting videos, and we are dedicating ourselves this year to adding a lot more video up there. Me and Casey will get some more videos up there. Our Camera One series is going to be continuing.
Yes.
I actually put one out.
I saw that
the other day,
nice.
Teasing our little short film that we're going to talk about this episode as well. So, but we're going to do a lot more video as far as pure Star Wars related stuff too. So check us out there and send us comments on Twitter. And, of course, you can email us info@insidetheforce.com. First up, as always, episode
7.
There is an episode 7 movie coming.
We're into episode 7, yes.
Yes.
Well, not really anything new. They keep on revealing actors that are in the movie.
In the movie, yeah.
But it's interesting the way they word it. They say, like, they add this actor to the cast of Star Wars Episode 7, and, you know, it's not like they're still shooting it. They're not added. They've been in the cast.
They've been there.
And they're just kind of revealing it. But I did see today, this might be kind of a few days old, I'm not sure, but that they're kind of talks about doing some reshoots in February. People may not know, but that's actually quite a normal thing for a film. Don't be alarmed. The movie's not going horribly. They're not reshooting anything because it's bad. They just they didn't necessarily get the shot they wanted, or just a few pickups here and there, perhaps. But very normal thing. They'll be doing some reshoots. I don't know where or with whom. Could be a lot of just random shots of scenery or something, or extra work. A lot with extras and background actors or something like that. Could be anything. But the film is pretty much wrapped. So rest assured, they are on track for a December 18th release. Mm-hmm. I've actually seen this been advertised on the news a couple of times, episode 7. And I think I saw it on our local news or something. And they got the date wrong. I think they said December either 19th or 17th. And I freaked out. It made me so upset. Obviously, there's no fans on the local news. Yeah. Because they would have gotten it right. But nonetheless, that is pretty much all of the main movie news that I will share. There's some stuff going on about the spin-offs, or the solo films, you might call them. The first one that we will be getting, let me have to double check here. The first one is no title, nothing, no really confirmed plot rumors, but it's directed by, make sure I'm getting this right, Gareth Edwards, I'm pretty sure, because I can't remember. There's one by Gareth Edwards and there's one by
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson's
he's doing the next one.
Yeah, he's doing episode 8.
Yes.
But
And he's writing. I think he's helping write episode 9.
Yeah.
But then you're talking about the first spinoff?
The first spinoff.
I think it's the guy who did Godzilla, right?
Yes, that's Gareth Edwards.
Yes.
Yeah. So Gareth Edwards is directing the first, we'll call it standalone, first Star Wars standalone film that will be after episode 7, before episode 8. The writer for that, now there's so many names involved here. I believe this writer is Gary Whitta. He has written the first draft already. He's finished, and it's been confirmed that he has moved on since then. Now, this kind of, some people kind of think that, because Michael Arndt, it was said, left the project. Now, some people thought that he was fired or whatnot because it kept saying he left the project. Normally, the writer would just do a first draft and then leave. He's done his job, so he leaves, and they hire other writers to kind of finish the job. And I've actually read a few things after that saying that he actually had a different idea in mind that J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan didn't quite agree with, so he left because of creative differences, whatever. But this standalone film, Gary Whitta is the original writer. He has completed the first draft, and he has now moved on from Star Wars onto his other things. But now they have hired a new writer to kind of revise and edit the script, kind of give it the second, third, fourth, whatever draft. Mm-hmm. And that writer is Chris Weitz, and he actually is kind of somewhat of a renowned director as well as a writer. He's done films like About a Boy. Bring him up here so I can make sure I get all this stuff right. But About a Boy, he actually also wrote About a Boy. He directed and wrote The Golden Compass. And he wrote The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. And he wrote the movie Ants, the late 90s animated film.
Yeah.
And he also directed Twilight New Moon. Now, I first heard about this from my buddies, from my friend Cody Geiler. And needless to say, I was a bit stunned that they hired Twilight. I've seen Twilight Saga New Moon. I've seen the New Moon film. Better than the first one. I haven't seen all the movies.
It's not a Disney movie, is it?
Twilight?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's not. But I mean, people give crap about Twilight. Yeah, it's very teen angsty and girly, but I mean, it was a well-made movie. I can't say that it wasn't. So, but he directed it, so he didn't write it. So I don't really know much about his writing. So I'm sure he's a fine writer. I'm sure he'll do a fine job with it. He won't add girly vampires in it. So please don't freak out that they've hired a Twilight director as a writer, because that won't affect.
Well, they're going to freak out.
Yeah, and
Star
my
Wars fans freak out. No, come on now.
My phone. I'm in a group text, like a constant group text with my buddies, and they just lit up my phone when this was announced. They're like, "What is going on here? What is all this stuff with this Twilight guy involved with Star Wars that should never happen?" But it is. It's happening. Get used to it. But I still have faith, because the director is the final vision. Well, besides the studio execs, but the director has the visual schematics of the film, so it will look amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And feel amazing. But that's all the movie news that I have.
Yeah, this is definitely a slow time, as we kind of keep talking about, because with production wrapped and you're in post and you're just trying to hit deadlines now with visual effects and whatnot. Now, I did think of this, and I wanted your opinion on this. I think a lot has to do with J.J. Abrams. Mm-hmm. But do you feel like, do you like or dislike the fact that we're not getting anything from episode 7? Do you know what I mean? Like
glimpses of
how you would think that with a lot of films do this now. You would think that with the way things now with social media and everything's online or on devices, that you would get little behind the scenes interviews, just a couple shots from the sets.
Yeah.
Just something to get everybody just their lips. Or or is that enough?
Yeah.
Or are they doing where they're not showing anything? Is that getting more people excited? I don't know. Because which way are you?
I love and like, I hate to say it, but it kills me. But I love not getting
anything.
I do like that. I mean, I think I have enough because it's Star Wars. I mean, the teaser trailer, I like. Yeah, sure. I want a teaser trailer. Maybe some official character posters, perhaps. Maybe a few production stills. But like plot wise, I don't want to really know anything about it. Honestly, like I will if something is leaked, whatever, and I so happen to come across it. I can't help myself with that.
Yeah, the leak stuff is one thing because that's not actually Lucasfilm and JJ trying to get that out.
Right. But spoilers, I mean, I try to avoid spoilers at all costs.
But if I remember correctly, and I don't know if you were involved in this then or not, but if anybody listening remembers, when the prequels were getting made, that's what they were. They did it a lot because I was part of what was called the Hyperspace Club.
Yeah, I remember that though. Yeah.
And when you joined that, which was a $25 a year fee or something like that, I mean, you got behind the scenes images, articles, character profiles. They profiled characters. Like I remember vividly just one the I can't remember his name, but the guy that the minister on Utapau. The big.
Oh, for episode 3.
Was he immune? No, that's not immune.
It's whatever. Utapauan, I guess.
Yeah, Utapauan, I guess. But anyway, I remember they did a profile on him. Before he and I remember them doing all these profiles on these real characters. Some of them didn't even talk. They were doing Jedis that weren't even. They were just standing there.
Yeah.
So, but it just got me more excited. And I know there's not really a club anymore. They got rid of that. It's all Disney now. You have a Disney account that goes everywhere. ESPN, Star Wars, Marvel. But I don't know. I think I'm on the fence where I want something.
A little more.
And it's not. And again, it's not. I don't need to see Han Solo. I don't need to see Princess Leia. Just show me like
some sets or something.
The sets, or profile like some marketplace guy that I'm just going to see one shot of in the movie. I don't know. Give me something, just something. I
want more.
Because think about it, the fact that we really probably are not going to see anything unless they release something at Celebration, which we debated whether or not we're going or not. I mean, I think I'm pretty much going, but if I don't get anything there, then it's the rumored trailer that's on Avengers May 1st.
That's pretty likely, I guess.
And then after that, though, I really don't, unless they do another trailer, I don't know if we get anything until the movie.
I feel like we'll get at least a theatrical,
TV spots and stuff.
Theatrical trailers, a few TV spots, and
you think because think about it, there wasn't a lot. There was a teaser and a trailer each for each Star Trek movie that he did.
Star Trek movie.
There wasn't a lot of campaigning for those. Now, granted, I mean,
they're not as cool as Star Wars.
Correct. I was about to say people may not be arguing with it, but to me, Star Trek is not as large,
right?
And they didn't have they obviously don't have the financial backing.
Yeah,
I think Paramount's one that distributed it.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't want to pour $500 million of marketing like these guys are probably like that Disney's probably going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already, the beauty of episode 7 is that you have a show like Rebels on right now that's going to push it. You have talk of all these new series, and all these works coming out and games that are all connected, comics that are connected. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised the market right now on this episode. I have a feeling that come close to the trailer release, maybe in the beginning of the summer, that they will announce a comic that's going to take place around the same time.
Yeah.
And that comic will probably start somewhere around November or even maybe right before the movie comes out, to kind of amp it up even more, to kind of get people to read something before. Because I know for a fact, because I've read it, there was a 4-part comic series before Star Trek Into Darkness came out.
I remember that.
That kind of set up the movie. So I really think that I don't think it's going to be an ongoing series. I think it's going to be like like a 4-part, 5-part arc. So anyway, but I don't know. It's just amazing. We we get the teaser
Yeah.
right at Thanksgiving, and I'm telling you, I mean, we haven't gotten nothing since.
Yeah.
2 months so far. We're just left to speculate the teaser, and you know, I mean, of course, we're like everybody else. We've seen it 500 times, and you know, I don't know. I think I'm on the fence. I'm on that side of the fence where I want a little bit more, just something.
Yeah.
Just something. Even Instagram or something, you know, or Tumblr. I'm looking at all that stuff, and it's all just vintage stuff that they're doing, you know.
I mean, they'll release those photos of like Bob Iger in front of the Falcon. They released that one quick video of like going underneath the Falcon. You've seen the Tumblr, Batman Begins Tumblr underneath the thing. But that stuff's kind of cool.
But that was a thing for him and Scott Snyder had going, or not Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, yeah. So I mean, since The Dark Knight and those movies came out, I've really been just like I want to know as little about the plot as possible. Even watching some of the trailers, like I don't want to see some of the trailers because I don't want to see really cool action scenes that I would be surprised at. And you know, because like when Heath Ledger and Joker and those trailers were coming out from Dark Knight, like I would try not to see any of the TV spots because I saw some cool new line from the Joker. Like, oh, that's so awesome! I wish I was surprised by that in the film. But you know, I'll watch the trailers and I'll do all that stuff. But that's kind of they might do in this show. You know, we need to look up the news, but it's hard when we come across like a big leaked spoiler. You know, how far will we go on the show to talk about spoilers and plot rumors? Because we talk about plot rumors a little bit, but like official things, like what we go, how far will we go? I don't know.
We'll see. That's tough.
Cause it as we sees it.
Okay. Moving on. Next thing is, of course, the TV side of Star Wars right now, which is Star Wars Rebels. Brand new episode aired this past week called Idiot's Array. And for the second episode in a row, we've got the return of a familiar voice.
Indeed.
One Lando Calrissian.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I've been working on that a little bit.
You're working on you? Not bad. Getting better.
Not bad.
What have we here?
Yeah. Okay, so initial reactions for me, for one, I liked it, to be honest. I liked it. It didn't really grab me like some of the other ones, like the Yoda one did. I don't know. It didn't, I thought it was a great homage and a great time to bring someone back and do that. Now, I tell you what, one thing I really enjoyed is finally seeing a game of sabacc.
Yes. Did you watch the Rebels report on this?
I have not
Talk
yet.
about it.
Did they really? Dang, yeah. I need to see that.
Yeah. Basically, Pablo Hidalgo and those guys researched the crap out of it. And
yeah, because it seems like they've taken actually from the EU.
They have, absolutely. 100%.
Because I remember a while ago when I had read about sabacc, I think when we were profiling somebody.
We profiled Lando.
Yes. And I think around that time I had read about sabacc. And I remember reading that the best hand is an idiot's array.
Idiot's array, yeah.
So they took that. Yeah, they took that right out of the EU.
Because Dave Filoni, I think it was his idea to have it in the show, and he went to Leland Chang, Leland G and Pablo Hidalgo, because they know about it, because they know everything. So he went to them about it.
It's up to them now.
Yeah. So they would go through all the material, looking at the artwork and making sure all the numbers, all the face cards were legit and authentic as can be. So you saw the real sabacc, and it's official canon now.
Yes, it is. It's in the show. So
very cool.
So what overall thoughts of the episode?
Thinking about it now and having you said that, I agree. I thought it was awesome. It's cool to see Lando, but as I was watching it, it did, it was a cool inclusion of him, and that episode standing alone by itself didn't seem like it further advanced the overall plot of Rebels.
Correct.
Really, you saw some Ezra using his lightsaber, and actually he used. We found out that's a gun as well.
A gun as well.
So it's pretty cool. And Kanan's like, "Mine doesn't do that," and it was a really funny little interaction there. We got maybe a little bit of character development in a few of them, but not really hardly anything. But I feel like that this might actually. I feel like this will come back and play later. I feel like we'll see Lando again. Honestly,
I do too.
So it kind of ended with that feeling, and maybe it will lead into Fulcrum a bit. So I think this just is setting up something. Honestly, it doesn't really advance anything now, but later I think it definitely will. And it's just crazy to think that now watching episode 5, we'll know with the knowledge like, okay, Lando has had all this experience with Rebels. He's met a Jedi before. He's had all these dealings. It's amazing. It's really cool. And I mean, it was just it's funny seeing Lando like this. I mean, it's just because we knew Lando going based just off the movies. We know Lando as just a swindler and just a kind of a scoundrel type guy who becomes a responsible, general. Mm-hmm. But this is, kind of seems like in his heyday, his prime, when he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel, essentially. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But he, has always got some hidden agenda.
So at some point from this episode to sometime before episode 5 is he somehow
gets the Falcon and then loses it. I would say.
Correct. Right? Well, and also I was about to say, and gets Bespin, gets Cloud City.
Yeah.
So all that happens within the next just like 8 years, right? Because it's 5 years.
It's about
5 years to episode 4, and 3 years after that is when Han finally shows up. So no, but see, he has lost the Falcon by now.
Right now, you think he has? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Han's probably got the Falcon right now.
Okay.
Because Han is he's older, right? I mean, he's older than Luke and Leia. Luke and Leia is 14 right now, 14, 15.
Yeah.
He's got to be probably
mid-20s, I would say.
Probably mid-20s.
So Lando's probably, I mean, it seems like he's about the same age as Kanan.
Yes,
so like
probably.
They're all around the same age.
Right. So I think at this point I think he's already lost the Falcon to Han. I don't know, though. Because I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
If next time we see him, he's flying the Falcon.
That would be cool.
I mean, that would be awesome.
And I know some probably our listeners who are huge EU fans who read the Lando books and all that stuff probably like...
Or the Han books.
Han books. Like, actually, like, I wonder how this coincides with those books.
I agree.
Now. I wonder if this has already shattered everything or...
Oh, I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's nowhere in there. Well, maybe maybe he does interact.
At this point in the timeline, has he interacted with Rebels at all?
Now, does that book lead all the way to episode 5?
See, I don't know.
See, Han's leads all the way up to episode 4.
Yeah,
and I can't remember at what point in the book where does he win the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's actually that far off from episode 4. I think he won it pretty close to that. So you may be right. I mean, Lando may still have the Falcon. Obviously, he doesn't have a ship right now.
Yeah.
He's
looking for it.
So maybe he wins it. Because the thing about it is we also profiled the Falcon.
Yeah.
In which, if in EU terms, it's changed hands like almost every other year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that episode that we did was called Gone to Pieces because that's what it was called.
Yeah.
At one point, it was actually called Gone to Pieces by one of its owners. So I think is Lando the one that names it the Millennium Falcon?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but anyway, so again, all that's irrelevant anyway.
Yeah, true.
So, but I agree. Yeah, I agree. This was a good, again, a good episode. I felt like it was just an episode. How do we get Lando in this episode?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the Yoda thing was more directly related to the plot of training Ezra, assuring Kanan that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But this was, this felt like it was, how can we get Lando in here? It was like, because it was different than when the first episode aired where the droids were in there because they were significantly brought in for the plot of something, of the hijacking the guns and whatnot and stuff like that. So I don't know. That felt more natural than this a little bit, but
it's just interesting because we're seeing like all the characters who have a huge hand in the rebellion, as we know from the originals. Like they're very much in the rebellion now. Like droids, without even if they know it or not. R2D2, I'm sure does. know that they're helping the rebellion. Lando is helping the rebellion.
Yes.
So it's crazy that, these huge characters are almost pretty much already established.
Do you think, a lot of people should know who I'm talking about, do you think we'll see General Jedi Coda?
Oh. I mean, I don't know, man. That's it's like if we see him, might as well see Star Killer. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Star Killer.
Yeah, I mean Coda. That's a good point.
But Coda, I think there's got to be, maybe not this season, but I think there's got to be some more introductions of other Jedis. Yeah. Some other Jedis they got to pop up. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but
maybe.
I mean, because Kanan, he's dubbed, according to the comic that's coming out, the last Padawan.
Yeah.
Meaning that after Order 66, there were no more Padawans. Mm-hmm. So he was one of the last ones. I guess maybe the last one, maybe the youngest of the Padawans to survive, possibly.
Yeah.
So, I got to think there's other masters out there, though.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Yoda obviously survived, but
someone's got to be good enough to escape the Empire's hand.
Or they just figured it out, like the distress signal.
They're too far enough away.
Yeah, they didn't get the signal, or they figured it out before. You remember, because they did end up going to Coruscant and to the Jedi Temple and changing the code before. So, I don't know. But that, of course, obviously you can now watch on the Disney XD app the next episode that has already aired, and I had the name of it.
Is it Visions of Hope?
Visions of Hope. Visions and Hope, right?
Vision of Hope.
Visions of Hope.
Singular. Vision of Hope.
Vision of Hope. Great. So Vision of Hope is out there right now on the Disney XD app. You can go check that out. And it airs on Monday, of course, on Disney XD. And then, of course, next week we will talk about that episode. So that's all about pretty much the Rebels. Now, I think, again, just it's hard because people can't really, I don't think, lock down. I think most people are arguing that, hey, Spark of Rebellion counted as the episodes, but then I don't think it does because this is episode 9.
Idiots Array was episode 9.
Idiots Array was episode 9, meaning episode 1 was Droids in Distress. So if this is a 12 or 13 episode run, I don't know, or if it's a 22 run, I don't know if it's
16.
Or I think you're right. I think it might be 16. So we still have several episodes left. So 7 weeks from now, would that put us? Yeah, that'll put us close to Celebration, which is where
they're going to air the last
episode is getting aired, and then of course the season premiere of season 2.
Yeah.
So we're getting down to the end of season 1 here, which is crazy to think of, man.
We'll get some 22 episode seasons though, probably.
You think so? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty inevitable. But I do want to briefly talk because I thought about this too, about the other TV series, the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I wanted, because I ran across a Twitter account that was Save the Clone Wars. And I went to they have a website that's talking about they want the unfinished all the unfinished episodes.
Jeez, yeah.
Let's finish this properly. I mean, for one, I'm going to ask you 2 things. One, do you feel like it didn't close out the way you wanted it to? Mm-hmm. And then 2, how should they close it out?
Yeah. I didn't think it closed out the way I wanted it to, because it just ended so abruptly, and it's, I kind of felt like we would have gotten several more seasons. But no, I mean, I always thought that they would just end it right up to episode 3. I felt like that was the talks of it as well.
Yep,
that was the plan all along. So, I expected, because it was already getting so close. I felt like it was already getting really close to episode 3. And you can tell just by the way they're dressing now, because their wardrobe changed. They weren't wearing the Clone Wars armor anymore. The hairstyle was changing, all that. But it seemed like they would get closer, then get to the Battle of Coruscant, and then just like the 2D, the micro series was, it would end like, if not right at it, but maybe before the Battle of Coruscant. But man, I do. If it ended with just that episode that we saw in season 5, I would be okay with it because it's maybe a lot of unanswered questions, but I don't think I.
But it didn't end that way because there's the hit and the lost missions.
The lost missions, yeah. So I guess if I'm counting, what was the last episode of that then, though? I mean,
the Yoda stuff.
The Yoda one. I mean, although that was just kind of picking here and there some episodes that they had started on. It wasn't really like the initial story arc of season 6. So I mean, it's hard for me to think of like the Yoda stuff as a series finale. Although it was a very powerful way to end it, I still kind of think of the Ahsoka thing as its series finale.
I agree.
It had more of a. I'm thinking back, it had a closure type thing because Ahsoka goes off. We don't know what happens to her, but it's still
because that's the way the series started.
Yeah,
was her introduction in the movie, Clone Wars movie, and then her leaving was. I did feel like an ending. Like I thought that was the end because you remember we speculated that because shortly after that is when Lucasfilm got bought during that season.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of thought, okay, well, that looks like the end of the Clone Wars. Maybe it'll continue on Disney XD, which I don't know why they didn't. I guess, well, we heard later on, Filoni says it just felt wrong to go on with what George had created.
Yeah.
This was George's actually creation.
Yeah.
Which everybody kind of points to Filoni at doing it, but actually George is the one that actually approved all the storylines.
Yeah, he was in it a lot.
He was.
People think he was like off in his house, but no, he was in the offices. He
met with them. Yeah, he was there. So the Clone Wars, and I think the Clone Wars is awesome, and I think a lot of Star Wars fans actually do like the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. And you got to realize that's George's thing. For many people bash him for the prequels.
Yeah. Oh wait, he did do something good.
He did, yeah. But I think because I hate to say it, but like I cringe when I think about that 4-part arc they released that's all animatics.
Yeah.
Like it's canon, and I hate to think that it's canon. I really do.
Yeah. I still get to see these.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather close my eyes and just listen to it because
the sounds, they have all sounds.
Yeah, the soundtrack is completely done. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. So it's so hard to see like
them like
jittering and they're
around.
walking, but they're not even walking. They're sliding.
Yeah.
You know. So I wish they would have. I mean, come on. I wish they would have just put the money up and finished those.
Yeah.
Why? You got that far.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just a few more layers of animation and
shading and sculpting.
I mean, it's not
hours of work, but still
would have been worth it. I think,
and you get your money back because they're putting these on Blu-ray. They're putting the
correct.
So you would have made your money.
So I'm a little upset by that, but and the reason why I say that is because I have a feeling, which it's been kind of hinted at, that they're going to continue doing Clone Wars stuff. Mm-hmm. We're getting that Saz Ventress novel.
Yeah,
that's going to be is tied to Master Voss, right?
Yeah. Well, I keep getting confused with the comic book. They're not doing a comic book with her, are they?
No,
it's just a novel.
It's just a novel. Yeah. But that's the thing. I do believe that they're going to probably do more comics.
Yeah, they should.
And I think what they should have done, in my opinion, is I think they should have taken that animatic one and just made a comic out of that, like they did with the Darth Maul one, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you make that a comic, and then you continue, maybe do a season 7 or finish season 6 in the comics, kind of like what Smallville did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everything's canon now. I mean, the illustration would have been spot on. The Darth Maul one, the illustrations were directly from the animatic of those episodes. So I don't know why they didn't do the crystal one. I think was with I don't know why they didn't do that because I don't know why that keeps bothering me, but I think it does bother me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of the Clone Wars, and I think that it's a must I just think that it is a must storyline to include in the Star Wars timeline because it's a vital point in time to connect all of these characters, and to not have it, like you said, to not have it extend and line up to episode 3, there's a gap there somewhere.
Still a gap, yeah. I feel like they're trying to fill in all the gaps.
Yes.
But there's still something to be told.
So hopefully we get more stories. I want more stories in the comics.
Yeah.
Personally.
That would be cool.
From Clone Wars to kind of match it up. So
very much so.
Anyway, moving on to some brief little things here. One, to remind everybody that we talked about last week, Star Wars #1, the comic from Marvel. Now it came out a couple weeks ago. Coming February 11th, Darth Vader #1.
Sweet.
Cannot wait for that.
Yes.
And then of course in March you're going to get Princess Leia. And then, like we said, the Kanan comic will be out sometime in the summer. Novel wise, come March, Heir to the Jedi will be out. Later in the year, you will get Lords of the Sith. I think that's the only novels. And then, of course, the Asajj Ventress novel will be out this year as well. I don't think we have an official. We still don't have an official release date on Battlefront. I don't think, right?
No, I mean,
but I think it's next year, right?
Well, actually, this year now.
Oh, it is 2015.
This is the kind of the most recent thing they talked about, where they're trying to release it before Christmas. Saying it will release before Christmas, and it will be aligned with The Force Awakens. So it's going to be released around the time of Episode 7, probably after, but it's not for sure. So it seems like they're trying to make trying to make it the best Star Wars shooter game of all time. It'll be released on PS4, Xbox One, PC, but that's pretty much all the information we got. We still have some of the footage that they've released, that little kind of behind-the-scenes trailer that they released about it. So, I mean, it looks. I mean, I'm been very excited. I've been waiting for this game for a very long time. I'm glad they're actually sticking to somewhat of a release date.
Yes,
and there have been some little pieces of news here and there about other games that are that are in development, like an arcade game and some other shooter games here and there. But I mean, that's just one of the other areas we're going to see tons more now, because we never really got a whole lot of Star Wars games. We got back in the 90s, we got several computer games and N64 games, all that kind of stuff. But besides the Jedi Academy games and KOTOR games, there really wasn't not much else. So we're looking forward to a lot more. And Battlefront's coming from EA, because I think they have a contract.
They do
with it, so they'll be producing a lot, I'm sure. Because LucasArts is no more.
Nope.
So there you go.
Real cool thing. I actually just clicked on the databank on StarWars.com, and front and center right there is Sabacc.
Oh.
So again, it's something I think we failed to mention. Anything that's canon now, it's in the databank. So don't go to Wikipedia, really. I mean, there's a canon part of that now. Yeah. They have a canon, but those canon stuff is directly related to the databank here. So whatever's in this databank, which they are constantly refilling it, because if you remember the old databank, that's all gone. But this, because the old databank, I remember they kind of did details. They told a lot of details. Now it's just really brief descriptions.
Yeah.
But here's Sabacc. It says a popular card game played throughout the galaxy, often with high stakes. In one notable game, Zeb of the Ghost Crew bet and lost the droid chopper to a sly smuggler, Lando Calrissian. Calrissian had an idiot's array, an unbeatable and rare hand.
So does it mention the Millennium Falcon?
That is it.
So we don't even know if Sabacc was the game.
Again, the databank, if it's in a canon novel, a TV show, or a movie, that's all that's in there. So if you look up Han Solo, all it will talk about is what is Han Solo in the movies.
So this is StarWars.com.
Yes, StarWars.com. The very right side on the toolbar, there's a databank. So, I just clicked on Han Solo. Basically, his description: smuggler, scoundrel, hero, Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon, was one of the great leaders of the Rebel Alliance. He and his co-pilot Chewbacca came to believe in the cause of galactic freedom, joining Luke and Leia in a fight against the Empire. That's it. So that's what I'm saying. So his story, if it's not on screen or in a canon novel, there's no speculation. There's nothing there. And it tells you about the appearances, affiliations, locations, gender and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to look up Millennium Falcon, but they don't mention the card hand between Lando and Han.
Yeah, all they probably talk about is
just what it does,
what it is, right?
What it is, how it's used, kind of thing.
So I'm telling you, so it's weird. So yeah, if you want to know anything that's canon, if it's not in that data bank, it's not canon.
Yeah,
person, place, they got everything. I mean, they got it separated good by characters, creatures, droids, locations, organizations, species, vehicles, weapons. They
don't even have a link to Wikipedia anymore.
No,
they used to.
That's right.
It's funny, on the Millennium Falcon page, they even have appearances. They have Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, as an official appearance.
Oh,
because
yes,
it
was. That's right. Yep.
Very briefly.
Yep, that's right. They used to actually on this databank. They did used to have on this particular one. They did actually have a connection to Wikipedia, but they since have taken it down. Yep. So, that's crazy. Anyway, all right. So another little thing we wanted to kind of mention. Go ahead with your thing. Did you mention about the spinoff, I guess, right? Or no?
Yeah, the standalone film with the writers. Well, kind of one of the other things is that they're talking about how the first standalone film has been kept rumor about. It's a Han Solo, it's a Boba Fett. What is it? Is Aaron Paul in it? Kind of thing. The most recent thing is that it is indeed a standalone film about Han Solo and Boba Fett. Now, I don't know why this keeps getting tossed around. Unless they're going back on what Kathleen Kennedy said, unless she's changed her mind, what she said is that they're not going to use any of the original or the saga characters or the original characters or whatever in the standalone films. So that kind of led us to assume that they're going to be doing original characters, kind of not really affiliated with. Not basically. They're not going to be films pulled from the saga films, where it's like you have to see these films in order to understand the saga films, kind of thing. It's not going to be like a prequel to the saga film. Maybe I think it's going to be straight up what it's called, a standalone film. This movie stands alone, separate from it. So that's why they're not going to use any of the original characters. Now, unless we read it wrong or she's going back on her word, they will not use Han Solo. So I don't know why.
Yeah,
this keeps getting talked about, but we'll see.
Yeah, because it'd be hard for some fans to swallow that's not Han.
Yeah,
or it's not Harrison.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I don't want that either.
You have to go.
Boba Fett's different because he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, and I don't have Daniel Logan. I mean, sure,
exactly.
Heck, he's the age now.
That's
he's
right.
Of age.
A little short for a bounty hunter.
Yeah,
but
that's you can fix that.
No, anyway. The one thing I did want to mention was I'd seen a video sometime this past week on YouTube that was like, I think it was called the top 10 things wrong with the original trilogy.
The original,
yes. Because he had mentioned in the very beginning of the video, he's like, "Hey, look, I'm a definitely Star Wars fan. I love the original trilogy, but I also love the prequels.
Yeah,
and everybody keeps bashing the prequels. Well, I wanted to put a video out, and I'm not me. I wanted to put a video out that talked about the 10 things that were wrong with the originals." Yeah. And he does some, and some of them were a lot of them were visual effects.
Yeah.
Like the lightsabers you can see sometimes. Right. But then the one was, he was like, what doesn't make sense now is the stormtroopers aren't as elite as they're supposed to be. They can't hit anything. They keep bumping their heads on stuff.
Yeah.
But he went on to say, how can they be like this? Because now we know that they're clones of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
And I about fell out of my chair. Like, well, what?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is I was reading the comments on the video, there were a lot of people that were saying the same thing. Yeah, it's so off now. I mean, they should be like just like Boba Fett. I mean, they're all like Boba Fett now. I'm like, No,
Yeah.
they're not.
They miss a huge part.
I didn't realize how many people out there haven't made the connection. And so
I've experienced the same thing. Yeah.
Really?
Like, because some of my students at school where I teach, they've asked me a lot of questions like, so why is there a black stormtrooper when they're all clones of Jango Fett or whatever, or like Boba Fett clones? Now, why are they all still clones? And so I got a lot of questions like that. So I've had to explain.
Yeah.
To my students.
How do you explain? What do you say?
Well, basically, if they've seen the prequels, they'll know that the clones, the clones that were Jango Fett, have been given basically an expedited or advanced aging process, accelerated aging. So they started to be grown. 10 years they were grown, I guess.
Yes,
it took them 10 years. So by 10 years they were full adults. So 20 years later,
they're going to be
very old. Yeah. So they're twice the age of what they are now.
But
so that's why they don't use them.
And that's something that you should get in episode 2.
Yes.
Because they say that in episode 2. We're accelerating. Because, again, the order was placed in episode 1. Mm-hmm. Episode 2 was 10 years later, and you have a full crop.
Yeah.
Of grown stormtroopers.
Now Boba was the only one that he kept normal. Unaltered. Yes,
that's right.
So he aged normally.
That's correct. he is aged normally.
Yeah,
and so the question, or not the question, but I guess the thing I started thinking about was, well, I wonder if I had not seen. Well, I can't say, but people that don't watch or haven't seen the Clone Wars, are those the ones making this mistake? Because there's episodes in the Clone Wars that have older clones. Remember that are kind of messed up. They messed up the aging, and they're older, and they talk about them being older. So I don't know. Is that what we're experiencing here? Some of these guys aren't seeing since they haven't seen that, they're not getting it.
Yeah. I don't know. I never thought that was a confusing topic.
Me neither.
Honestly, because watching the originals, I always assumed that they were different people because the voices were different. I mean, they even went back and changed Boba Fett's voice to match Tamora Morrison.
That's exactly right.
So
see,
they didn't change the Stormtroopers' voices.
That's exactly right. I mean, because they would have had to.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
I think that's a clear giveaway. Plus, the giveaway is, not all Stormtroopers are the same size.
True. Also short to be, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but if you look at the line, like them in line, there's some that are like, it's staggered, what I mean? So at one point, we will echo, basically, for those of you that may be confused as well listening to us, all the Stormtroopers are now just regular old humans.
Yeah. If you watch Rebels, you know that too.
You would know that.
You see them being trained.
That's right.
And I've heard that we'll even get to see some of the older clones training the Stormtroopers, perhaps.
That's right.
Something like that.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
Yeah. Because the 501st lasted quite a while.
Well, the 501st is still
around. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess the original clones were the 501st. I can't say that because I'm basing that knowledge off video games.
Yes.
So never mind.
I know. I don't think the clones. Yeah, I don't think the clones technically were a 501st. I think that's Vader's elite group of the 501st Stormtroopers.
Yeah, because the first Battlefront game, you were playing as the 501st.
Yes.
And it goes up
as the clones?
As clones. And you're going up until the original trilogy. So we can't count that anymore.
Can't. Maybe they did. But if it's not mentioned in the show, though, it's not mentioned. It's not canon. So I don't know.
Yep,
that's my dog. Yeah. If you guys are here and someone shaking,
it's me.
It's Miley. Hey, Miley. She's stretching.
Okay.
Okay, so those are kind of the little topics I wanted to kind of just talk about that came up this past week.
I mean, the last thing that I looked up was that George Lucas has said that J.J. Abrams and those guys are not using his treatments for Episode 7. That, everybody knows that George Lucas had treatments for Episodes 7, 8, and 9. He's had these treatments kind of in mind since the beginning. But it seems like Kathleen Kennedy and everybody, or maybe it's just J.J. Abrams' decision. I don't know whose decision it is, but they're not using his treatments, any of them, for
That's right.
Episode 7. Now, Which is interesting. Very interesting. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
Because George Lucas always wanted it to be, I think, the grandchildren.
Right.
Pass the torch. So, what does that
mean? I think that clearly counts out that there's going to be solo twins.
If that was George's plan.
I do believe that was his plan. Yeah. I kind of have this feeling that because even though he let the EU kind of go on its own, there was somebody like Leland that was overseeing the continuity still in the EU.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? As best they could, even though there were a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
But I believe that the idea possibly was either approved or accepted by him that there were solo twins. So,
yeah.
So I think if he was going to do episode 7, which he had plans to do episode 7,
yeah,
he was going down that road before the sale. I think we would have. I think you're right. I think we would have saw more kids. I think we would have saw more of the solo twins. I think possibly Luke would have had Ben Skywalker.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking too, because J.J. Abrams is always famous for his mystery box that he has. What if the big mystery box for this is the Sith turns out to be a solo child?
That's possible.
That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I do think he, of course, would like Michael Arndt, since he
tried to make the kids most important.
I think so. And that JJ had a different idea what he wanted to see, and it looks like Lauren Kasdan probably agreed with him.
I mean, Lawrence Kasdan's always wanting to do something different anyways.
Awesome.
So maybe Michael Arndt was going more with the treatments, because it seemed like he was more aligned with what George Lucas wanted.
And that's probably true, because that's the first things he probably saw were the treatments, because that was before Abrams got into the storyline.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it drastically changed, and that's definitely probably why Abrams and Kennedy wanted to push the release date back, because of all these changes, So I don't know. It's episode 7, so it's gotta fall in the timeline somehow. Yeah. So it's I think it's gonna be okay.
Keep it in the Skywalker line somehow. Yeah.
I guess last thing we'll talk about, I wanted to just mention briefly before we get into the trivia here. There's a tweet sent out a few days ago by Star Wars Books, which is Del Rey. And the tweet says, we've been talking, or actually it's a Facebook post. We've been talking a lot about our plans for more content in Star Wars Insider Magazine. Today we are excited to announce, I didn't realize Del Rey was the ones that published Insider Magazine. I guess they do. Oh. The ones that do the novels.
Yeah.
Today, we're excited to announce that the first original Star Wars short story of 2015 will be written by Jason Fry in its original story, approved by Lucasfilm Story Group, focusing on a squadron of TIE pilots. We'll have more information in the future, but we can tell you that the short story will appear in issue 156 of Insider Magazine, Star Wars Insider Magazine. So I will definitely read that. I have a subscription. I keep forgetting I have a subscription. It's so hard because I don't get it physically. I get it digitally, and I don't have like
notified that hey.
I don't. New. I never. I could probably set that up, but I don't have it set up. So I'm behind on the Insider Magazine. I need to read that because for the show. But look for that if you're in Star Wars. If you're getting Insider. You're getting a brand new short story coming that's approved by Lucasfilm Story Group, so it's a canon. The other one was pretty good. The Squadron one's about the B-Wing people. Mm-hmm. The Blue Squadron, I think. That was pretty good. All right. Anything else, Case, before we trivia it up?
Negatory.
All right, here we go. Trivia 17-16. If you guys are familiar, we've been doing this since the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. Questions obsessed with Star Wars. There's no way we're going to outdo this book unless we do 2,501 shows.
Yes.
17-16. Here we go. And this was going to be, looks like Empire Strikes Back era, maybe? Yep, Empire Strikes Back era. 17-16. Here we go. With whom did Darth Vader need to make contact when he asked Admiral Piet to move the Star Destroyer Executor so that he could send a clear transmission? I mean, come on.
Sheev.
Sheev.
That's not an answer.
That is incorrect. I'll just say it's obviously A, it's Mara Jade, B, a black hole, C, Emperor Palpatine, or D, Shire Bry.
Don't know who that is.
I don't either. But I'm assuming you're going to say C.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, easy one. Easy. Every once in a while we get an easy one. Yeah. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Inside the Force. Thanks for checking us out. He is Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. I am D Cottingham21. Real quick, let's briefly talk about our brand new Star Wars fan film that we teased last week.
Yes.
So we'll get more details in the coming weeks because we're just now starting to promote this thing. There is a teaser trailer out now that I cut together and threw out there on the Twitterverse, and it'll be that'll end up showing up on our Facebook here on Inside the Force. We're going to talk about it more. We're going to get some cast members from it on here to talk about it. It's Star Wars, so and we did our best to fit it in the canon.
Oh yeah,
because we're canon guys.
Yes.
So I'm sure if it gets sent to the story group, they would approve.
What year would this take place, would you say?
This is the same time as Star Wars Rebels. Okay. This is like
4 or 5 ABY.
This is probably
or BBY.
14. 5 years BBY, right?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, 5. It's 14 years after episode 3. It'd be 5 years before.
But see, I think they changed. Didn't they change? Aren't they thinking about changing
the dates?
That?
I think
the BBY, ABY. Yeah. I think they're more or less saying it's. Because remember, I think Leland Chi tweeted something out like,
"Oh, it's right."
Like episode 2 is 10 after episode 1. Yeah. Like episode 1 is almost like 0 year now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So anyway, so this is 14 years, roughly 14 years after episode 3. So this is roughly around the same time as what's happening in Star Wars Rebels. The rebellion has begun. A rebellion has begun.
Yes,
I thought about trying to put Spark in there, but I did.
Spark.
I intentionally left it out.
Sparkles.
Because we kind of do something else that kind of mentions that. But
Easter eggs.
But yeah, Star Wars Bounty is the name of the film. It is a real short film. It's under 5 minutes because we made it to fit into the Star Wars Fan Film Awards. We will let you guys know. It is at judging voting right now. We will know the first part of March on StarWars.com. It's going to be released on StarWars.com whether or not we are in the top 25.
They're watching
or
it
the
right
final
now.
25. Yeah. They are. Now we are going to release the film ourselves, though. I have not decided yet if we are going to do it before or after we know or not.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking sometime in February we're going to release the film to the public so you guys can see it. But if you can, we want you guys to share the teaser, get it out there. We'll talk about the film more in the coming weeks. Give a little more details on how the idea came up and, blah, blah, blah. The idea, I can tell you, the idea came up mainly because of the Fan Film Awards.
Yeah.
What could we do that's under 5 minutes? Because I believe it's very difficult to tell a story in 5 minutes.
Tis.
But, of course, coming up as well, you will get our traditional May the 4th videos here soon. We're talking about some ideas right now for that. But all this stuff you can check out on our 21 Pro YouTube channel. YouTube.com/21Pro spelled out. That's our production company that we do all of our films and web series and stuff with. So don't get confused with that with our 21 Network series. That's just our podcast shows and our show-based stuff. So anyway, like I said, we'll get in more with that episode, or that series, so you can watch the trailer on our 21 Pro, or you can just go on our Twitter and insert. And it's one of the latest tweets. We're gonna tweet it out here pretty constantly here next few weeks. So check that out. Star Wars Bounty, starring Freddie Mullins, Courtney Waltemeyer, and Cody Kaiser.
There you go.
3 cast members. All right. So that it.
That's it.
That's it. Forward, Casey Cooley.
That blast came from the Death Star. That thing's operational. There you go. Took me all day to figure out what Lando quote I was going to do.
Really?
I was like, so many quotes. Like, what could I do? Because I know I've done at least one, but I forgot what it was. So I'm pretty sure it was one of the ones like, while you know good, dirty, rotten scoundrel, whatever, got a lot of nerve. And we're like, well, have we here? That kind of stuff. So I went with the episode 6 one. What would be yours?
What's the one? God, there's that one that just keeps standing out. Like, how's he say it?
I thought of one. I thought of like, how you doing, Chewbacca? Still hanging around with this loser?
No, the one is when punch it. They told me they fixed it.
Yeah.
They told me they fixed it. It's not my fault.
Yeah, it's not my fault. You kept saying it.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
Yeah.
They told me they fixed it. It's not my fault.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And Chewbacca's going crazy.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good. All right.
All right. So check us out next week as we will review another episode of the Star Wars Rebels, talk some more speculation of episode 7, and get into everything Star Wars. For Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Dave Cottingham. Thanks so much for checking us out and listening. Hit us up on Twitter, Inside the Force. And may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.